Welcome to Comics Think Dark. I'm Jared. I'm here with J Heat Blaze. What's up, brother?
Flame on. How's everybody doing tonight?
So today we're going to talk about absolute DC and Ultimate Marvel because there's, oh boy, has there been some, hey, what's up, Robert?
Hey.
So, boy, has there been some stuff to talk about in terms of Ultimate and absolute. So I'm going to start off by saying this. This conversation was, we have compared the two in the past, but here's why I'm redoing it.
One where she's more into it.
And Robert, one word, Brevoort.
Yep.
J Heat
kind of forced this.
J Heat, have you heard this BS?
I have.
All right. So let's give context. So Brevoort, in his latest attempt to screw over the fans, has brought up, so he made this really BS argument saying that, oh, absolute DC and Ultimate, it's like Ultimate Spider-Man outselling the main title is not about like Peter and MJ. Then he does something very interesting, J Heat. He goes, oh, it's just a higher quality book. And I'm like, so you're admitting there's a quality problem at Marvel? Refer to our last week's stream.
Yep.
I have to say this say what you will about how editorial screwed over Nick Spencer when he left them for Substack. Say what you will about that. But Ultimate Spider-Man is just a better book overall. Like that. I mean, that's not because you already have what's going on with the whole Paul debacle. You already had Zeb Wells taking over literally on the anniversary. I want to say I don't know the exact year, but the anniversary of when Gwen Stacy was killed off in 1973. So I want to say Zeb Wells took over like right on the 50th anniversary.
And J.E., don't tell me you're not excited for Gwen Stacy to return and become Gwenpool. Don't tell me that's not a good idea.
No, because you're literally you're retconning one of the one of the most solid story arcs in the last 30 years.
Yeah, there's only one good Paul in mainstream media right now. I don't know who that is, but
I don't know who either.
What's the good Paul? KHL? So let's talk about this. So then he brings up. Then wait, okay, J Heat, you're gonna love this. So then he tries to compare it to Absolute Batman. He goes, Absolute Batman's outselling like regular Batman, Paul from Invincible. Oh yeah, okay.
Right.
He goes, Absolute DC, Absolute Batman outselling regular Batman does not mean that like Batman fans want Martha Wayne to be back. I almost said Martha.
Okay, there's a huge.
And wait, Robert.
Right.
I have to play this as a joke.
Why did you say that name?
I have to play that as a joke. So there's a huge difference there because what Brevoort's now is forgetting. The Batman fans for 20 years have not been clamoring to bring back Martha Wayne.
Now, to be fair, there was worried about one thing. Yes, the sales for Batman, regular Batman, have been dipping. But what have they been doing? We've got their editor-in-chief coming on board with Loeb to do a sequel to a beloved story first. And then after that, they're going to relaunch it with a new #1 with a top-tier writer.
Well, of course, they're going to do something about it with Batman because Batman's the golden brand of the franchise, golden brand of the company overall. Of course, they're actually going to do something about it.
Well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, that's what someone brought up in another tweet. I love that. And really, what's funny about it is like it's not again. It's not like the fans for 20 years have been telling to put Peter and MJ back together. It's to the point where the very first arc, the very first trade, literally, Robert, the very first advertisement for Ultimate Spider-Man says Peter and MJ are married with kids.
Yep, and not only that, they were mocking people saying, you want to marry Spider? Go read that. They were mocking it because they were banking on it to either fail or do good in the first issue and then plummet.
How'd that work out for you, Breevy?
Yeah, and here's the thing. You know what's been a kind of, if true, been an unkept secret? Brevoort's been in charge of Spider-Man since Brand New Day.
That sure explains a lot.
And that any of the other editors were taking orders from him.
Which, now you may be wondering, Jared, why all of a sudden would he be like acting out like this? Because the sales.
The sales are for one.
Robert and I have a theory. It's the sales combined with, and here's our theory. We don't have any like insider knowledge of this.
Nope.
This is just conjecture.
Yeah.
The New York Comic-Con panel.
We think he ran interference, but eventually it got through.
It got through to someone above him that at least looked at the sales. Because here's what Brevoort also didn't tell you. This is the little lie. This is a lie.
Yeah.
He was claiming that Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man are like neck and neck. Leaving out the part that Spider-Man launches twice a month.
Exactly.
Where Batman is 1-1. So I'm like, that is just cheating, brother.
That is so cheating.
You're expecting no one to check?
Exactly. He was expecting no one to check.
Your thoughts, Jay Heat?
It's always been a mess with that guy and just the creative process from an editorial standpoint in general. It's always been a mess with him.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, it is. It's like in the Iron Man 2020 documentary they released from Marvel 616, where they talked about how Dan Slott is chronically late and Brevoort runs interference for him.
And you have Christos Gage always filling in for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. But speaking of Christos Gage, he did the story for that DC Dark Legion game. Actually, really fun. So here's the thing. Now, going to the Absolute Universe, when that launched, so the whole All-In initiative, this is what intrigued me at first. They said they're taking the best of Rebirth and the best of New 52. Maybe wondering, Jared, what does that mean? That means is they're saying that the Absolute Universe is basically the New 52 side. It's the hard reboot.
It's what New 52 should have done.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like we didn't have 15 years of a alternate universe at Marvel that they could just use as a model. But anyway, that's what that is. The main universe is the Rebirth side, where it's like respecting like legacy in the past and soft rebooting, not hard rebooting, soft rebooting.
They're never going to do a hard reboot again.
Not unless sales get really bad.
But it's not. And I don't think Warner Brothers is going to put them in that position of give us this or we're shutting you all down like they did before. They're not going to give them that.
Don't be so sure. Don't be so sure.
Well, I'm saying not to the degree it was.
But Zaslav's in charge. I
Zaslav has done better in the past few months, let's be honest.
He has, but we'll see.
Like, if he hadn't done it by now, I don't think he's going to. It's the comics.
That shelved Batgirl, so.
But the comics don't add or hurt as much.
True. My point is.
It would be like pennies. You'd be getting pennies.
My point is, that's what this, to Robert's point, this is what the New 52 should have done, because you could have kept the convoluted as hell Flashpoint timeline and not Flashpoint post-crisis timeline and not like alienated fans, but you could have, because that's why Marvel did the Ultimate Universe. They were like, okay, continuity is great, but but it's also serving as in some ways a gate, if you will, to new people getting, because they're like, if I want to read Spider-Man, where the hell do I start?
Interesting thing I found out. You want to know why there was never an Ultimate Thor book?
Why?
Because Jurgen's Thor was actually selling decently enough for it to for them to feel like, nah, it doesn't need one.
Which is funny because Spider-Man was selling well. So
yeah, but Spider-Man, they knew you couldn't have a Marvel universe without Spider-Man.
True.
It was like the Avengers, they were considering having a takeover.
Robert, technically they had Ultimate Thor books. It's anytime the Ultimates had an arc that focused on Thor.
But I'm saying his own book, putting it in his own book is what I'm saying.
I will say New Ultimates by Loeb was actually pretty dope. That one Thor arc where he has to come back.
Yep. And he knocks up Hela.
Yeah, I know. So she was not his sister. Loeb was probably done with that talking point. But Cameron says Ultimate just showed how had Marvel stuck to their guns with Peter, they would have been making money, but no, he has to be relatable. I mean, that's the thing.
They're not even making him relatable. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, so it's relatable for the stuff that they have put Spider-Man through. Then no way is this relatable. And it's like, but
it's their definition of relatable. But remember this though. Brevoort is the one who said that Spidey. It's about. It was somebody else. He said something else about why he is. People love him, and it had nothing to do with relatability. It was something else. I was thinking it was his pain or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the Parker luck, if you will.
Oh boy! And did you know that's when the Overdrive was Brand New Day?
Mm-hmm. But the issue with that, it's like, and there's one more factor that plays into this. And Sam said this when he came on my show. It's basically the idea that a lot of fans are hardcore married to the status quo that got them into comics. Now, to be clear, I'm not bashing that because, yeah, Robert's married to the status quo for Superman. I'm married to a different status quo. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It's just when the writers and the creators themselves make that stand in the way of creativity and what's best for the character, what the fans want, that's when it becomes a detriment.
And Brevoort, he's already made clear he hates MJ.
Oh, yeah. And Robert brought up a good point when he and I were talking about this off stream. It's like, yeah, if he had his way, MJ would have been like putting a wood chipper pretty much.
And he would, if he could, he would bust in everyone's door and burn all the MJ comics so that she never existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we could rewrite history. Gwen would be still alive and be in the place of all those issues.
Now, okay, I want to go ahead and add more to that before we move on.
Go ahead.
Mary Jane doesn't have the best personality, and now
depending on the writer.
Depending on the writer, that is true. Let me just say that first and foremost. And most of her adaptations definitely make her more of a toxic partner than a partner who usually dreads like the concerns of the lifestyle or someone with first responder mentality, like a Jessica Drew or someone along that lines. But you know, Jessica Cruz, Power Man, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Wait, did you say Jessica Cruz?
You mean Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones, excuse me. Jessica Jones.
Oh, so wait, so Green Lantern's been in this the whole time?
Oh, ha.
You did kind of walk into that one, didn't you?
I did. But back to my main point. Yeah, there are better Matt pairings and character dynamics. We could argue that till we blew in the face. And let it be known, I am not a fan of shipping. I'm just saying that for the sake of semantics.
Yeah. Let's not get into that. That's a later topic.
But all I will say is that I'm not going to say Mary Jane is a bad character or need to be deconstructed or redux or anything like that. She has a specific role and she plays it well.
Agreed.
Now picture this. A Mary Jane book written by Tom King.
Get him out.
First of all,
you said deconstruction, and first of all,
okay, that's not.
Why did you say that name?
Thank you, Batman.
I had to. But Cameron says, sadly, J Heat is right. The only good adaptations of MJ would be Spectacular or Ultimate.
I would also say, technically, in my opinion, the Insomniac version was not bad.
It wasn't, but she was more Lois Lane than MJ.
But she wasn't toxic, though.
But here's the thing. They were going for at least Ultimate MJ, because at least in the original Ultimate universe, she was a journalist, right?
Right.
I believe so, yes.
That's what they were going for. I will say, I wish they didn't downgrade the character model, because that was...
No. To be fair, one, she's got in a car crash. So a lot of her face was actually hurt. And, so it wasn't the same as it was before. Two, completely different engine. You got to remember.
Yeah, but I'm like, don't overall downgrade it. Like, you could have...
It wasn't a downgrade. If you've seen photos of her around the time of Spider-Man 2, it had matched MJ.
Still, for some
to
reason,
be fair,
off.
I mean, I get what both of y'all are trying to say because she was badly injured during a car accident and had to go through a little, a little fix up. I understand that, but either delay the project to where the scarring has healed or recast altogether. I feel like that's the larger point of what Jared's trying to say.
No, and I get that, but it bothers me when people are saying, "Oh, it was definitely a self-insert with this writer," when it's like, what proof do you have?
That was
Patrick
relatively
Stevens one.
circumstantial, but that did not help the development.
And here's the other thing is, they would have been in breach of contract if they did that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been utter breach of contract for the model if they pull a stunt like that. But these people are so convinced that's what they did and that they would do it when it's like, that's stupid. Yeah. And it doesn't help that actress has now said she's not going to bother doing any other roles like this because she is tired of the hatred.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. So our point, going back to our conversation, is Marvel editorial is screwed up. And Britt, I know you're watching me because you just told us, you just DM me saying you're watching in the chat. Yeah, Marvel is way worse than DC.
Oh, Marvel's editorial team is way worse.
If you think,
hands down.
Wait. If you think that DC screws up characters, just look at the Spider-Man editorial. That's all you got to look at.
Spider-Man, Punisher. No, Thor's editorial team.
Forget no. Jay Heat, I would argue Spider-Man is the character that they have screwed over the most.
Oh, hands
down. because they love.
Didn't pass anyone.
Well, at least that got undone.
Still wrote it.
Not to mention, Marvel's editorial team is notoriously petty. I mean, even by industry standards.
Big petty. Time.
Oh, yeah. So I'm like, yes. But so that's just me. Marvel editorial refuses to change characters. DC at least took chances. Yes, they did take... DC is more likely to take a risk. But anyway, so going to the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Now, anyone that's watched this channel since that was announced knows that my concern was how different is it going to be from the mainline universe? Because I was like, because I had some faith it'd be somewhat different. I didn't expect it to be this different. And Britt's in the chat and she goes, point made. Yeah, DC is doing a good job ruining Wonder Woman with crap editors. That's true.
That is true, but...
Let me put it this way. Very hands-off editors, very laissez-faire, to use the political term.
Laissez-faire, I believe it is. Laissez-faire, yeah.
Whatever. But the point is, they're very hands-off, which, as an editor, that is a stupid way to be, but...
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. But, and by the way, since Britt's in the chat, I might as well play her intro, so let's do that.
He's back.
So... little did I know, all you have to do is look at the origin for Absolute Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so the premise is, I know you guys already know this, but it's helping my point.
Right.
Instead of being raised on the island, literally called Paradise Island in some continuities, she's raised in hell.
Yep.
And at first, I love how first people are like, oh, she's going to be basically Kratos just because she had a similar tattoo scheme.
Nah.
And she had a cloud sword. But I love... Okay, I'm going to share this because...
I would argue it's more from Berserk, but I get the aesthetic.
All right, Jay Heat, did you see this? Marvel is ripping off Absolute Wonder Woman now.
Is that Medusa?
No, that might be She-Hulk. We don't know who it is, but...
Look at that. I'm like, what? Here's what it's for. Hang on. I'll pull up it's for a new Jonathan Hickman event called Imperial, which it makes me think it's She-Hulk because look who's in the top of the cover here. It's all the Hulks. But I'm like...
Hulk and Black Panther, and who's that neck between them? Is that Star-Lord?
Scar, maybe?
Hold on.
No, that can't be. No, that's Scar in the middle. I'm saying who's that between him and She-Hulk?
Oh, I think that's Star-Lord.
That's what I said, yeah.
That's Star-Lord.
But still, I'm like, when I look at or that could be Gamora.
No, that doesn't look like. Oh, that could be. No, Gamora has black hair.
All right. My point is, when I see this is on the level of when they did the Heroes Reborn Justice League.
It could be the other She-Hulk, the younger one that's Bruce's quasi time traveling daughter.
Okay, the point is,
wait, that's stuck. I thought that was a one-off.
No, that's stuck, dude. That got by the time of Greg Pak and Red Hulk, They brought her in, and then by when he became Mr. Dr. Green, he then seemingly sent her away to another world, but then she came back and has stuck around since.
Huh. And by the way, Nemo says, I love you guys. Thanks for the great streams. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep.
But when I see that, I will never forget it. So this is before I met any of you guys. Early days of Comics League.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to Lad. Lad's the co-founder. So he told me, Marvel has their own version of the Justice League, right? And I go, what? So I checked the Marvel Encyclopedia, and I read all the origins. So I Googled Squadron Supreme, and this is around the time that War of the Realms was happening. They did a Squadron Supreme tie-in, and this is worth sharing. Squadron Supreme. So this is the image that pops up on my search bar, and I'm like, what is going on? So this is the image. Hang on. This is the image that came up on my thing. And when I saw Power Princess, I was like, wait a minute
those are redesigns also. You know that, right?
No, I know that. But when I saw the redesign for Power Princess, I was like, oh, you're not even hiding it now, aren't you?
Nope, they weren't.
And I'm like, so that has this energy right now. That cosmic event that they're doing right now has this energy right now. And ironically, also involves Wonder Woman.
Yep.
They can't help it. I think they even ripped off a Wonder Woman, like they had Frank Choi do a Wonder Woman cover, but with Power Princess. So
something like that, yeah.
They did a lot of stuff with that. But my point is, when I see stuff like that, that's when I'm like, okay, the House of Ideas.
I know.
I found that.
Well, to be fair, Jake, that was Jason Aaron's whole plan, was to make it be more and more the Justice League.
No, I know, but still, it's kind of humorous how close. I showed this to my mom because she has no context of this, and she's like, "Oh, that's Wonder Woman." And because it just looks like Wonder Woman in black and gold armor. It looks great. In fact, some people took the Marvel Legends Power Princess action figure that they came out for that and repainted it as Wonder Woman.
Of course.
No reason not to. So anyway, so that launches. So the Absolute books have arguably been the biggest hit DC has had in a while.
A long while. I would not say since New 52, but definitely in a long while.
Because they've had some hits since then. But let me put it this way. In the last, say, 5 years. How's 5 years?
That's fair.
That's fair.
DC's was a big hit during the pandemic.
Well, ironically. Yeah. But so it's like, and ironically, so was the Ultimate Universe. Here's why the Ultimate Universe took off when it did. And actually, here's why these universes did as well as they did. So we'll start with Ultimate Marvel. Let's start with Ultimate Marvel. The selling point. Here's why using Peter and MJ as the selling point was so big. Because literally, it doesn't matter what you do with the universe.
Right.
You are just marketing as we're giving you something you have always wanted.
Yep.
And look at how much it sold.
You know what? I'm gonna double check who does the editorial on Ultimate. Hold on.
Yeah, and what's interesting? So I'm the example of this. I have Ultimate Spider-Man on my pull list and no other Spider-Man books. So I'm like, the other ones don't feel like Spider-Man. What is it, Brevoort?
Will Moss. So it's nowhere near Brevoort's territory.
Hey, Moss, you want to take over the main book too? Edit that one too, and not be Brevoort's.
Let me double check if he does all of the Ultimate books or not. He does Ultimate. So keep talking.
Yeah. The point is, it's like when you market something as giving fans what they want, look what happens, Marvel.
Yep.
It's almost like giving the cut. It's almost like Marvel concept, pun intended. It is a heretofore unheard of concept.
Mm-hmm. So far, it looks like Will Moss is the editor on all the books.
The entire line.
So here's my point.
Except minus one. I think someone else is the main editor on at least one other book.
It's guys, it's a heretofore unheard of concept that Marvel apparently has no basis in. If you give the customers what they have wanted for and asked you for 2 decades, that's right, 2 decades sustainably, the sales come in.
They do.
Isn't it funny? It's almost like giving your customers what you want gives you money.
But these people they are so used to, well, it's not just ego. They're also so used to one thing, and that's people buy no matter what.
Well, it's that.
And Jay, here,
that is logistically true. I have to give Robert that. That is logistically true.
Yeah, unfortunately, I say here's the phrase I just came up with: buy red even if it's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But and I double checked. Yes, Moss is the editor on all the books.
Well, he's doing a great job. But here's the thing: it's like, yeah, I understand that, and it's really a combination of factors with Marvel. It's the Marvel zombies, for lack of a better term.
Well, yeah, that's basically what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also Brevoort saying, "Oh, we're Marvel. We're the industry leaders. We can do whatever we want."
Now, I will play third party here. Brevoort got into comics around the mid to late 90s. That's when he first kicked off in the comic book industry. He first got his first editorial credit in the early 2000s. So he's a byproduct of that era, at least from a logistic standpoint in the industry.
But here's the funny part. If he's a byproduct of that era, weren't Peter and MJ married in that era?
But it was still something that a lot of people internally hated.
Yeah, especially for Peter at the time, because they didn't want the character to feel too old to where you had to go through 30, maybe almost 40 years of history just to catch up where Peter was. All the classic storylines.
It didn't help. Sorry. Go ahead.
Robert could probably go into more detail on this than I am. But one of the main reasons why Peter is successful is not so much the Parker luck, it's because he's so relatable. He is an everyday, everyman hero.
But they don't believe it's the relatability. They think it's the suffering.
Depending on the writer, that you can go too far with it, because there is, you want to break the power fantasy because you want to keep Spider-Man Peter Parker grounded. So you want to break the power fantasy to a degree. But there is such a thing as going too far.
Yep. And you know what? You know where that started? Wolfman. Mark Wolfman's run is when it went beforehand, there was a good balance. Jerry Conway even made sure every time he had something rough, somebody would pick it up. Wolfman was the one who just kept piling and hardly did anything to balance it out. And ever since then, you have writers doing the same thing, just piling it.
And don't get me wrong, Marv Wolfman, New Teen Titans, arguably one of the best.
Oh, fantastic.
But the guy relied on melodrama almost to the point of a crutch. At least with an ensemble cast, you can get away with it. But with a singular protagonist, you got to find a balancing act.
Here's the problem, and this brings up a good point. Here's my problem with the comic book industry is that the companies put the preferences of the writers over the preferences of the customers.
Well, to an extent, and because let's be honest though, because and nowadays you do have writers who were the customers.
Yeah, but once you become a writer for these big two companies, you are then essentially because let me put it this way. You're supposed to if the fans are asking you for 20 years to go in a certain direction with the character.
Oh yeah.
Eventually you got to let go of your ego and go, okay, the fans, I would argue again, more fans hate Paul and Zeb Wells Spider-Man run than hate the Tom King Wonder Woman run. I'm confident in saying that.
I would agree with that.
No, I think a better comparison would be his Batman run if you're going.
No, because
the point is more people hate this Spider-Man era than hate anything Tom King ever wrote. I'm just gonna put that as a blanket term.
No, I just want to say quickly, people actually did like Tom King's run at the start. No one has liked Zeb Wells' run from the start onwards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. Zeb Wells' run was a mess from the start.
Yeah, exactly. What did Peter do? I don't care. But it's like
Great artwork.
Great artwork again.
Mostly.
But that's the thing. It's like the writer, I get that the creatives were, or like the people working at Marvel were fans themselves, and that's arguably a dream job. But once you get to that point, you have to stop being entitled a-hole and realize your preferences mean little in comparison to the preferences of your customer. That's how you run a business.
Right.
If you don't know how to run a business, don't work for Marvel. Or here's a better idea.
Oh, geez. So we want to talk about how they treat their artists?
In a second. Yeah, we are going to talk about that. If you're not going to treat, if you're not going to treat your employees right, or run your business properly, or cater to your customers that are keeping the lights on, go write your own comic.
Now, go indie.
Now, okay, I want to say this though. There should be a line. You don't want to cater to your fans too much either. Otherwise, you'll never get any stories you want done.
It's a delicate balance.
It's a delicate balance, but it needs to be a balance. Right now,
I agree.
Both companies, it's too much on what does the writer want to do.
I'd say DC, though, for the most, yes, Wonder Woman is one thing, but overall, DC is better at it.
Because DC's more in touch with, is either more in touch with their fan base, or, well, here's the thing. I think Marvel wait, hang on. I think Marvel is in touch with their fan base. I think they're just too pig-headed to listen to the fan base.
Here's what I think. DC knows we cannot lose anymore. So we need to do what we can for the most part. Some things might slip, Tim becoming bi. That's been no secret. That was under the editorial's nose.
Yeah.
That wasn't, but other than that, you've had most of the time, they are just trying to keep what they have, whereas Marvel is arrogant. They are cocky. They know.
And they got Disney money.
Well, not just the Disney money. They just know, but they have the Disney money, but they also know people are going to still buy it. We could just tell them, we can say, F you to their face. And
keep it PG, Robert.
As I said.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's fine. But, and Jay, to counter that, DC has WB cash, as worthless as that is right now.
Counterpoint, Star Wars.
Okay.
No,
that's a good counterpoint. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But it's so then you get to is how about it. Here's how you know DC knows what the fans want. They got Jeremy Adams on an exclusive contract.
Yep.
The fans clearly want him, and you know what? Yes.
Solid business decision.
Let him write whatever he wants, because that man, as far as I've read, can do no wrong. Yes, please do that. But anyway, and actually, that's a great segue, Enzo. This is another advantage DC has over Marvel. They can sign in the better talent, because here's the thing. And Dennis, I think his name is who was the artist that did that social media post?
No, Justin Nguyen.
Nguyen. So he did a post talking about DC. I will never do any work for Marvel.
Nope.
And what he did, and what he talked about is that they do not pay you. They pay you. You're a
pennies
dirt
on the
poor.
dollar.
DC, they actually give you royalties and stuff. And actually, there was another story with an artist named Zoe Lovegood who did like a cover and a sketch, a character sketch. They made it a cover without telling her.
Wait, Marvel or DC?
Marvel. They made it a cover without telling her. And then she got a lot of heat because it was like a rough sketch.
Ah, jeez.
And they're like, I didn't know they were going to use it as a cover. They did that so they didn't have to pay her royalties for the cover.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why like guys like Semper are going to DC. Even though I would love Semper to draw something Marvel, but it's just look. If DC,
I wouldn't blame them. They're sick of the crap. I would not blame them at all.
And look at Liefeld.
Yeah, exactly. If DC is giving you the better benefits, why do you think they're gonna go there?
Exactly.
It's like completely like it is nuts. And also the Peter David's situation.
Now that's the case where I think it was Medicaid, not Marvel's was doing.
Yeah, but still, they should, with all the stuff that he has done for them, royalties.
Agreed. They could care less about the royalties for him.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, Peter David has pissed off a lot of people in the industry over the years. Not as much as Mark Waid, but he's pissed off a lot of people.
He had, especially with his Romani rants.
Yeah,
but
great Young Justice run though. Not gonna lie,
and his Hulk, everything. He's done so many classic stuff.
Yeah, but so you wonder why and I think, again, going back to Robert and my theory, I think with the Absolute Universe doing as well as it did, especially Spider-Man, that is starting to put the pressure on Marvel, saying, why is this alternate AU doing so well where your main book, it may be selling okay, again, because you're publishing it twice, but the fans hate it.
Yep. And you have people who are still, they are never going to forget what happened with Kamala. Ever.
Yeah. That Kamala thing is like.
Wait, that whole mutant thing with Krakoa?
No, her dying.
Her dying.
Wait a minute. Wait. Yeah, they did kill her off so they could change her power set for the
but it was done so stupidly.
Wait, I thought she got her own title for that. Like
No. She died in Spider-Man.
Why is Kamala Khan in a Spider-Man?
Okay. First, here's the Jay Heat. You think that's crazy? She was in there as a side character here and there as an assistant for Norm, but get this, she only had a grand total of all the issues. There was 25 issues. She had like a total of like less than, like only around barely double digits of issues she's appeared in, and most of that was just panels.
The very fact that
was it set up in any way, or was it just
no? And Jay here's how bad it was at the New York Comic-Con panel that went very badly for Nick Lowe. The fans had counted up how many panels that she had shown up, and it is a pathetic amount.
It is pathetic.
Here's the thing: it would be one thing if she at least died in Miles's book.
Oh, and here's the other. You know what the crazy thing of all? Sorry.
It would be one thing if she died in Miles's book, because guess what? She's interacting with Miles.
But here's champions. There's history there.
Yeah.
But here's the crazy thing: they had already retconned out her shape-shifting powers.
Yeah, because most of her powers
and she literally shapeshifted to MJ. So I'm like,
I can never unsee that for as long as I live. Thanks, guys.
No, but that's the point. It's like they did it so haphazardly and remember, they marketed it as a shocking death. Zeb Wells was like, I will have to hire security when I go to cons now.
I was told to go into hiding.
Yeah, and everyone's like, you pissed off some people, but it's like, what?
It was
it came out of nowhere.
It's coming back to me because I remember abhorrent confusion. I'm like, yeah, Zeb Wells, you're getting heat for a crappy, lackluster Spider-Man run, but it's not for the unaliving of Kamala Khan specifically. Your run is just bad. I'd argue your run was sabotaged from the start, but even
it wasn't just that. It's just this added on to it.
Yeah, this definitely added on to it.
And I'm just like, oh my God. And then after that, after the run ends, of course, Nick Lowe has to go face front to Paul Evers.
They are tripling down on Paul.
Oh my God.
Hey, at least the Venom comic got a good roast out of it. So
don't be so sure, JT, because there's a theory that they're gonna make Paul the new Venom.
Because there's a point not long after the roast where he basically tells Dylan, screw your father. Your father left you, and we're the ones taking care of you.
Wait. Why would they give Paul a symbiote?
No, well, that's the rumors, but it's like everyone's suggesting Nick Lowe is forcing it on Al Ewing.
And then
I wouldn't be surprised. It would just be in very poor taste.
So, if I were Spider-Man, if I were the Spider-Man editor after Nick Lowe, I would say, okay, Al Ewing, in your next run, assuming that Paul is Venom, I would say, okay, I'm gonna need sonic cannons and flamethrowers. We're gonna burn that a-hole.
Yep.
It is going to be epic. But it's like if Paul becomes Venom, that'll be a final nail in the coffin for him. You'll still read Marvel, Tevia. Don't. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way.
I left after Secret Empire, and I've committed to that. You'll unless I get fan requested or for a subscriber milestone, you'll hardly ever see me.
Trust me,
read a
you'll be
comic
back,
again.
J-Heat. That they all say that.
Hey, I haven't picked up a Marvel comic in 10 years.
I admire your willpower, good sir.
Yep.
Seems like rage bait from editors that's Paul. It could be rage bait. Maybe that.
Yeah.
I think what could have happened is that people guessed who Venom is already, but to ward off, DC leaked a rumor that it's. I mean, Marvel leaked a rumor that it's Paul. It's not the first time a comic book company has leaked something to ward off people guessing a plot point.
Armageddon 2001.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's happened before, so it's like I wouldn't be surprised.
Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I mean, that Armageddon 2001 was not bad. Granted, the ending sucked because of the leak, but the book itself leading up to that was not that bad.
But here's the other thing. It's like, again, and Nick Lowe was bringing up what I love how someone asked Nick Lowe about Peter MJ, and then Lowe, like a snarky a-hole, was like, I love how you're assuming that what you want is what all the fans want. And I'm like, because it's lasted for 20 years. If it had lasted for like a month and then you didn't really hear about it that much, that'd be one thing. Go ahead, Robert.
By the way, here's something else that you know has been ticking off Brevoort and Lowe. The fact that no matter what, every adaptation has had an MJ.
Every single, to the
In
point,
some capacity.
Yes, they've never dropped her.
to the
No
point,
matter how hard they try.
to the point where there was a rumor that Sadie Sink is playing Mary Jane Watson.
He's Firestar. She's Firestar.
That would be cool.
She could
but-
probably pull off a good Gwen Stacy, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but it's the hair.
It's the hair. It's the hair. Why would they put her in a blonde wig or dye her hair?
Wouldn't be the first time.
It
True.
definitely would not be the first time. But Jay Heat, every time Marvel brings back a character you don't want, you always take 3 steps in the other direction. Yep, exactly. Where's DC? Okay, that way. I'm going this way.
Can we get back to the absolute for a second?
So now we're going to the absolute DC. So
Can I tell you one thing I've been liking about Absolute DC?
of course,
Yeah, they've been building up to this, what's going on, even in the mainline DC books. Now, would you say that's better than Ultimate, keeping it entirely contained?
yes, I do. Because if it's the absolute universe, it should feel like a world where.
No, but I'm saying the like the dark side stuff, for example, they're building up in Superman, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
everything feels like one story, and they said that in the all-in like trailer they put out. What were you gonna say, Jahid?
The reason it's done this way because you definitely want Absolute Universe to stand out because DC cracks out, especially with Tom Taylor. DC cracks out Elseworld stories like hotcakes. It's not. I mean, you see like a dime a dozen.
True.
So yeah, I definitely see, especially with Darkseid's presumed death, the Omega Sanction, but at least they've showed enough restraint to where they're not overplaying their hand for the sake of to keep things PG. But needless to say, I kind of appreciate what they're doing, and actually, I'm not going to spoil the most recent Absolute Superman issue 4 issue.
I haven't read it.
Nope. And wait, 4 or 5?
Jared, remember when we did the New Direction episode on Kryptonian Empire?
Yeah.
Krypton Empire? Let's just say you're going to find a very familiar aspect in Absolute Superman.
So it's another thing DC stole from us.
I'm not going to spoil.
But yeah,
Okay. I don't think they know about what you guys came
It's
up
a
with.
joke,
It's a joke.
Robert.
No,
It's a joke.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like. First of all, I also say that with a smirk. You're like, I don't think they did.
Mm-hmm. I wonder where Booster will show up. He's as far as we know, he's captured by Darkseid's Legion.
Yeah.
So as far as we know. So yeah. So and what I like about this, all 3 of these books feel very different from their main universe. And the thesis of the Absolute Universe is basically you take away these heroes support network and put them in a world that is like, what's the word? Essentially it's more going toward like evil,
but not full on. It's
not as
Evil
extreme
1.
as Grant Morrison's Earth 3, but it's more toward that direction.
It's more of an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle. If you take away their support and networks and put these heroes in these situations, they still act like those heroes. And
Exactly.
that Wonder Woman is the most perfect example of this. She showed up in hell, and it's like she even softened Cersei.
I was about to say, Cersei of all people. You think she would try and make her a villain, but no.
No, I'm like, wow. And the fact that in the absolute universe, the Amazons were the very first defenders of humanity. And I'm like,
and not that, but you also,
like
Batman's villains are actually not bad people.
yeah, exactly. As rogues are all of his childhood friends.
Well,
I love
most of them, most
of them, except for like Black Mask, obviously. I love the
Joker.
Cape. The Cape basically is a Venom symbiote. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What if Batman starts off with Jason Todd instead of Dick Grayson? That'd be interesting.
Well, if White Knight's anything to go by, or the Murphyverse, that's really not changing much.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I think Scott Snyder did bring up that Ultimate Grayson is going to show up, but he'll be an adult, so they'll probably skip the Robin part.
That's I can believe that.
But it's like, and with Superman, I like with the thing of Superman is taking the Krypton emphasis that you got from like New 52 and Golden Age and still like honoring the human part, because he's protecting humans. It's going back to that champion of the oppressed like idea for Superman.
Yep.
Plus the fact I just love the Ashes of Krypton cape, because I'm sorry, Rafa Sandoval draws the crap out of that whenever it's on the page.
Yep.
I'm like, good Lord, that just looks so badass.
It does.
Everything about this universe is amazing. I think it's safe to say, and you know what's kind of interesting? All of these books, all of them, have sold extremely well. To the point where, at least for the Absolute Trinity books so far, because we don't know about Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Lanterns yet, but as far as the Trinity goes, they have always been the top 10 book, somewhere in the top 10 list every month. Every single month.
Yep.
That says something. And I have to believe that DC at least looked at that part, and is like, okay, we actually have something here.
Yep, and that's why I'm positive these things are. Even Snyder said he's been renewed already. He's going to renew himself after the contract's up.
Yes, please do, because this is working. You're getting people excited for DC in a while.
Yep, and hey, so long as Aaron stays under control.
So, which so far they're doing, and as long as Kelly Thompson just keeps doing what she's doing, because she is doing fantastically with Absolute Wonder Woman, it's like they finally cracked the code, and it's showing them if the New 52 had been an alternate continuity, it wouldn't have been as reviled as it was.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's an objective given, because common misconception. Oh, we're just gonna reboot out the blue. And no, DC was in the gutter in terms of sales.
Oh no, we know that. Yeah.
No, I'm speaking in terms of the audience. New 52 was a desperate Hail Mary at the time, but it was not planned out in the slightest. They had a year and a half.
The very fact, Jay Heat, that they try to make me believe that Blackest Night happened during those 5 years, and I'm like, what?
If you said 10, if you exclusively gave Batman and Green Lantern to where they're Lord,
not just that, Jay Heat. The characters that were pretty key,
critical
to Blackest Night weren't even introduced yet when Blackest Night is supposed to have happened in this universe.
Yep.
I'm like, what the hell? And I get it because those were the really top selling books, but still, if you're going to do a reboot, commit to it. Reboot. And so going to this, it's like, let me put it this way. If the plan was that the Absolute Universe was going to only exist for the purpose of this long story they're telling, I think the sales basically told them, keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way they're going to eliminate this. I think that Now, this is not going. This chances are is not going to lead to any changes in their corresponding.
No,
books in the main universe.
no,
I'm not saying that,
no.
but I'm saying at the very least, it showed that this alternate universe has staying power.
Yep. And again, there's no real need for them to make any changes aside from shake up the teams, like with Batman, for example.
At the very least, it'll lead to like. Let me put it to you this way: if Wonder Woman keeps doing as well as it does in the absolute, it may. This is not a will. This is a may. Tell them because it's showing them at the very least that like Wonder Woman is a brand that they should put more effort into at the very least because it's selling so well. So they're like, okay, Tom, we're going to move you to a different book. We're going to move someone else on that. Britt says mainline sales are still in the gutter. So even if they had the New 52 separate, post-crisis would have still had the same sad state. We know how. I'm not trying to start a debate on that, Robert. I know how you. I know where you fall on that. But it's
I don't fully agree with that.
It didn't help that writers also didn't communicate that too. Because here's a perfect example of that with Superman in Action Comics. So in the New 52, Superman is taking place now. Everything now is happening now. And Action Comics by Morrison is taking place 5 years in the past. No one was Grant was not communicating with people on what they were doing in the Action.
He didn't know where he was going. Because you remember this, he extended his run after the 2 fill-in issues.
But here's the thing, Robert. If he's taking place in 5 years, at least George has to know what he's doing.
Oh, I know, but you do know that was true, right? That it wasn't meant to be 18 issues. It was meant to be 6. But after he did that fill-in issue to give Rags a chance to catch up, he then got a bigger idea in just those 2 issues.
Yeah, exactly. Tevia says, questions. Do you think if the Absolute Flash sells better, maybe get a new writer? I just said that. Yeah. I just said it could lead to more creative teams.
True, but yeah, he was just asking specifically about Flash. But will it? Well, they have already changed things up a bit, so who knows?
Yeah, no, all we're saying is this may. That's why I used Wonder Woman as an example. May.
Yep.
So, and Cy Spurrier's Flash run briefly. Cy Spurrier's Flash run. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just he uses a lot of horror elements that takes you out of the book. At least in the early issues.
I was gonna say, he has gotten a bit better in trying to get it back on track to a point.
Nemo says, "I wonder how Green Lantern will be." I think I think the next one of Absolute books, they look really interesting.
Yeah, but that's definitely not going to hurt regular Green Lantern.
No, because regular Green Lantern is doing great. There's no reason for DC to screw with that. It would be one thing if Absolute Green Lantern, if regular Green Lantern was like flopping. It's not.
Exactly.
All it'll do is they'll say, "Hey, great job, Jeremy. Great job, whoever's writing Absolute Green Lantern. Keep doing what you're doing."
Exactly. Keep it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Absolute universe doing well is not going to affect the books that are doing really well.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's never a single definitive version of Green Lantern. Most people consider the Jeff Johns era the definitive.
That's
Green
a solid
Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Me
run.
too. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of Green Lantern. That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. I agree completely.
Yeah, they're doing. Yes, there's an Absolute Martian Manhunter book. The art looks kind of odd, but it looks interesting. The very fact that here's the thing, those Absolute books are also selling really well.
Yeah,
Martian Manhunter is selling well.
It is. You want to bet it's going to get bumped up from a limited to an ongoing?
Every bit.
You know why all this is? Based upon the fact. So basically, Absolute DC has the Marvel effect. Here's what I mean by that. The reason why we got Guardians, the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, did as well as it did is because at that point, the audience trusted the Marvel Studios logo enough to know, okay, this is going to be a good title. With the Absolute books, Absolute Martian Manhunter, people are like, if it has the Absolute logo on it, you know what? It actually is going to be a good book. And then Neil says, who's the Green Lantern as the definitive hero, not the run? Hal Jordan. It's still Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
case in point, he's in everything Green Lantern. Now, there will be other lanterns that have their own stuff, but when everyone thinks of Green Lantern, for the most part, they think of Hal.
Now, I will say, when it comes to the Flash, that's the interesting thing. Most people do think of Wally. Even when they call him Barry, they write him like Wally.
Which is interesting because Wally is the absolute Flash. And what's interesting, people have noticed, have you noticed how like they're turning out in a few of the books, they're turning the heroes' enemies into allies, like Wally having a baby Gorilla Grodd that comes with him everywhere?
Yep.
I'm like, okay, this is actually really cool. Or Wonder Woman with Cersei. I'm like, oh, that's actually really good.
Yep.
Absolute is more easy to jump in. There's not a lot. Exactly. And that's why they did it that way. Because they're like, okay, if you want like a fresh jumping on point, here's this. And then if you want to jump onto the other stuff, there you go. You can just go do that. Because here's the thing. Having a lot of continuity is not necessarily always a bad thing, because what that leads to is part of the fun is going back and reading all the past stuff. So then when you reread like the current issues, you're like, oh, that's where that's there.
Exactly.
A Superman with Brainiac. So I don't know about Brainiac. By the way, isn't it kind of interesting how Superman The Last Days of Lex Luthor issue 2 is finally coming out?
Yep.
A year after the first issue.
Yeah, that book is...
To be fair, that was because a lot of his issues, Hitch moving on to Ghost Machine and all that, plus still having to do what was the other book he was working on? Wasn't Hawkman? It was a Marvel book. Venom.
Okay. Yeah.
So he ended up getting swamped. So it was mostly Hitch, nothing to do with Wade.
Okay, that makes sense.
There were contractual issues on that.
They kind of had that actually in the. You guys remember that DC Heroes United app story thing they were doing?
I think so.
So that's the one where they gave Wonder Woman a vaguely Russian accent, believe it or not. And Lex Luthor was telling people to trust Superman. And I'm like, what?
What?
I see it. And I'm like, by the way, you know what's kind of funny? The last episode came out months ago and they haven't updated the app since.
Good point.
In terms of stories, they've released. You can now unlock the absolute skins for the characters, and I'm like, okay, that's really cool. But it's like Tevia says, heck, the new Ultimate Universe and Absolute DC Comics is actually helping me gain these characters again. Except Ultimate X, Ultimate X-Men is the one where I'm like, yeah, that's a miss.
I think that's why they came up with Ultimate Wolverine, so they get something X-Men related.
You need something actually X-Men to plug into the actual universe.
Yep.
And I like their premise for Wolverine because it's basically Wolverine as the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Cameron says that adjusting lineup was not with that app. Yeah, I know. It was really weird, and it's like, all right. But Dark Legion's actually really fun. I'm enjoying that. Who would Batman's greatest ally be in Absolute? It's not Joker.
It's not Joker. Joker is his worst enemy, even more than ever.
Penguin's already an ally, if you will. He's a friend. He's a childhood friend. So is Harvey.
I'm curious what they're going to do with Bane, because they have hinted it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tavia, a lot of people forgot that app was a thing to DC Heroes United.
Yeah.
But, and then NJ says, I love the fact apps. That's the other thing. Here's the funny thing. And NJ, you bring up a fantastic point. So I love how, and this is not Tom King's fault.
Right.
So the issue comes out with the Steve Trevor statue.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's pissed off about it. And one of the questions people had was, where is Julia? We know where Vanessa is, although arguably that's not Vanessa. And where's Veronica Cale? And where's Etta Candy? In comes Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That issue. Okay, Etta Candy, and then the last tease, Veronica Cale. And I'm like, this could not have been timed any better.
Yep.
It's one of those occasions where it's inadvertent timing done almost cartoonishly well. And I'm watching this and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. I love that. But and apparently, according to Snyder, we're getting an Absolute Catwoman book. Hopefully not written by Teenie Howard.
Hopefully not.
Oh, imagine we get an Absolute Gotham War.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and Jay Heat just cringed right there. In the absolute universe, the heroes gain unlikely allies and frenemies. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what they're doing. And I really like that because it's justifying its existence as an alternate universe. And by the way, I know this question is coming because I get this question a lot. And Robert, you're going to agree with me with my answer.
Yep.
I have to address this because people are going to ask. Unless the main universe completely implodes, the absolute universe will capital N, capital O, capital T replace the main universe.
No.
I want to be clear on that. That is never happening.
No.
They
will not make that mistake again.
No, because that's part of the selling point.
Exactly. That is a big part of the selling point.
And again, you would be getting rid of the classic versions of the characters. We don't want the main Wonder Woman to be from hell.
No.
I'm like, no. Are these great alternate versions? Obviously.
Yes, obviously.
But that's the point there. Now, let's talk about this. We talked about both. Which one do you guys think are doing the alternate universe more effectively? Actually, you know what? There's one more thing I want to bring up.
Yep.
Why do you think this ultimate universe is this ultimate Marvel better than the previous one?
I will not go that far.
Okay.
I would say it's equal.
I will say Ultimate is better.
No, I'm saying the whole line.
Yeah.
Because I would say this. Ultimate Spider-Man, the original Ultimate Comics was meant to be a refresh starting point for new people. It was Spider-Man Chapter 1 done right.
Yeah,
they were
exactly.
trying to give us a new origin, new everything. And originally, you do know it was meant to replace Marvel. But you know what actually convinced them not to do it?
What?
Cusick and Perez's Avengers. That saved the entire line.
Yeah.
Because they were ready to just drop everything and replace it all. Claremont and so many others have gone on record saying that was the plan for the Ultimate Universe, was to wipe out the original and have Ultimate be the new ongoing standard.
So new 52 it.
But they would have closed out the main line.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a case where they wanted to build up. They knew no one was going to accept a cold, hard, dropping it all. Yeah. So they were trying to build up to it. But it started out good, but it was never meant to last because eventually you start to bring too many elements from the mainline universe. I think what made it doomed it was the fact that they kept the mainline universe going.
Yeah. And the other problem is that at a certain point, it got bogged down in its own continuity.
And then they try to do stuff so drastically that it ended up making things more toxic. Ultimatum. When you gave it to a man who was suffering a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, exactly. NJ says, Absolute Wonder Woman's powers are way cooler than Maine, who sadly is seen as a watered-down Superman Wonder Woman. Maybe they should transfer... No. Don't want regular Wonder Woman to be a witch. Again, NJ, that's my point saying that these are great as alternate takes. They should not replace the main. I am against that. As much as you guys know me, I love Absolute Wonder Woman and I loathe with the burning fires of Krypton, Tom King's Wonder Woman. I don't want Absolute Wonder Woman to be the main Wonder Woman.
No. Not to mention, fans would just never accept it logistically. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Again, because you're new 52ing it again.
Exactly.
And you don't want that. But it's like, and that's the point. And that's a good point, Robert. So actually, Jay Heap, before I move on, which do you think is better, or do you agree with Robert?
Again, I haven't picked up a Marvel comic in years since Secret Empire. Mm-hmm. So I do listen to clips or social media here and there. That way, in case I get requests or I'm talking to you guys. So I'm at least somewhat aware. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Absolute Universe because of the cohesion.
No. I mean Ultimate Marvel now or the previous Ultimate Universe.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. If I had to say, I want to say the new Ultimate Universe. Now, the original, it did what it was supposed to do, but it was a glorified Elseworld at the end of the day. And even then, it inevitably imploded, and then you got Ultimatum. Ultimatum just leaves a bad taste in your mouth when
It
you
kind of ruins the whole thing because you know what it's building to.
Yeah.
and so and even then with the I just prefer the newer version. Even with all the carryover from like the Maker and Miles Morales, you're still somewhat building up to it. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought tonight.
No, it's
But
all good.
Oh, can we point out one thing very quickly?
go
You gotta
ahead.
understand that both the new Ultimate Marvel and Absolute have in common, they're having set contracts for a
Mhm.
limited time.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have a finite ending goal and then determine do they continue on or not.
Yeah.
That's something they both have in common.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I just want to point that out. Yeah.
Which do you think is better, Ultimate Marvel or Absolute DC?
That's the problem because
They're more of the
Ultimate
same.
Here's why I say Ultimate DC.
After you mean
Yeah, same thing. It's the idea. It's how different this is from the mainline because a lot of yes, the world itself is kind of different in this Ultimate Universe, but the characters are extremely similar. Like their origins are like Captain America's origin is very similar.
true.
At least with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, they made some dramatic tweaks to those origins.
That's true.
So it feels more of a alternate take on these characters. What do you think, Jay Heat?
I agree on that because you're at least actually doing something that warrants the change or warrants the larger impact of this being an Elseworld or out of continuity, even with the synergy leading to this overarching story.
Yeah.
Ultimates just feels like more of the same, just with a few, just with hints of fan service sprinkled in, like, oh, Peter and MJ are together. Wolverine is the ultimate Wolverine is the Winter Soldier. It's like it's a toy box for new ideas that the editorial would never let them do in the main line.
Yeah.
How about you,
Especially it's I would agree with that, but here's what I say though. Ultimate Marvel has a bit too much of a head start still.
True.
That is my big issue that I still don't feel ready to make that judgment yet.
Okay.
True. I mean, yeah, Ultimate did have about a year head start. That is true.
Yeah, so they had a year head start. We know at least a general idea of where they're going with everything.
So that is true. That is true. But it's like, but still, it's like with that, it's like it's a little bit more of it feels Elseworlds at the DC side at least. So it's still so that's like the advantage that Absolute has as opposed to Marvel, and that was the problem with the original Ultimate Universe as well, is that yes, some of the stuff was different, like with Iron Man's origin and such, but it still was like the exact same beats.
Not all of it.
Not all of it, but the main characters, like Spider-Man, it's kind of the same thing.
Kind of, sort of, yes.
Yeah, but it still kind of felt a little bit too similar to the past. Like there was no Thor's raised in hell.
True, that's true.
And then Tevye says he personally, we know why you think Ultimate Marvel is better. He can follow the story with the Maker plot. And Absolute Comics is good, but there's no hint of Darkseid yet. Yes, there is.
Well, not directly in the books.
But
it's what he means.
Yeah.
He means not directly in the books. You have to read the main DC universe to see them.
Well, yeah, and that gets into the still they haven't really. Neither has the Maker though.
True.
So by that logic,
actually no. If you've been reading the Ultimate year in or year so far, it has.
Well, again, it's a year in advance, so that there is.
No. I'm saying the year in so far special that had Nick Fury in it.
Okay, but did the Maker show up?
Yes, if I recall right, yes, he did.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But yeah, exactly. And the best thing that the Ultimate Marvel did that actually Absolute Wonder Woman is kind of echoing. It makes their respective editorials look like idiots.
More so
on the Spider-Man side, which I love it because if there's any editorial that deserves to be exposed for the morons they are, it is the Spider-Man editorial. Oh my gosh.
Yes, that is so true. They deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, before we go, I'm going to ask you guys this. What... Now, we're going to do this for both Ultimate and Absolute. What DC character and what Marvel character do you want to see introduced? And by the way, NJ says, by the way, have you found out what happened to Julia in the main line? I have that's the thing, NJ. Julia Capitelis. I don't think she's been referenced.
Wait. In what?
In main Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Even ignoring Tom King, even before that.
Oh, right.
The only time I remember in my reading seeing her was Rebirth Wonder Woman Year 1. That's literally it.
Is that the girl everyone keeps on wanting to pair her up with? Or am I
No. Julia is the college professor that Wonder Woman meets when she first comes to Man's World, who teaches her English.
That's Silver Swan's mother?
Yeah, that version of Silver Swan's mother. Yeah, she has never shown up.
I think she was briefly adapted in Wonder Woman Bloodlines, but other than that,
she was in Wonder Woman Rebirth, like the Year 1 trade, I think. But that's it. It's astounding. So what book do you guys want? What Marvel character and what DC character do you want to see get their own book?
If I couldn't get Teen Titans, how about an Absolute Starfire book? Hey, let's start with a wild one.
I got one. Absolute Deathstroke.
Too easy. What? He's actually a decent dad, and then you just make him.
Come on, Jay. It may be too obvious, but you would buy the crap out of that book.
You know what I want?
What?
Absolute Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay.
I want it, but have it be instead that it's not the green.
It's the rot. I like that. That actually, so flip
Absolute Constantine, you bloody wankers.
Bloody wankers.
Where he's actually a sober dude.
Now, as far as Ultimate, we already know what Hulk does, and he's not a good guy.
No, do not do Hulk.
We'll just get more of the same with Hulk.
Well, no. We already know. Jay, Ultimate and Hulk is one of the evil cabal.
I got one. Ultimate Sentry. This would tie in with Thunderbolts.
You would need one hell of a story to pull it off.
You know what? Ultimate Inhumans. See what they're like in this world.
Oh God, they're actually good characters.
Oh God! Ever since what they did to the X-Men, I've never forgiven them. Never.
Yeah, no one has forgiven them like that.
Up.
And then Tavia wants Connor Kent Superboy or Supergirl. Either of those would work.
Okay. Oh, sorry. He said Connor. Never mind. I saw.
No, he said Connor. He said Connor. Yeah. I saw that.
No. I know. That's why I just dawned on me. I'm like, wait.
Absolute Aquaman is good. Okay. And yeah.
I mean, I'm positive that's in the works. Absolute
Aquaman. Yeah, absolutely.
Unintended.
Wait, I don't know if we've actually talked about this yet, but how about Absolute Justice League?
That's happening.
Well, first, let's wait for Absolute Trinity. And that means Trinity as in, they've already announced that event, remember?
No. Cameron has a good one. Absolute Zatanna.
Wait, doesn't she have a miniseries out in the main line right now?
Yes,
she does.
Yeah, and it's good so far.
I know it's unlikely, but do you think Tom King knows Vanessa has a mom named Julia? No. No, I don't think he does.
Let's wait and see.
Absolute Green Arrow. That
too easy.
Here's one. He's a bad guy, so he kidnaps people from ships and puts them on an island and hunts them.
We don't.
Okay, now you're just trying to rip off the most dangerous game. Come on.
Yes, exactly.
Or Craven.
He's Craven. Great movie, by the way.
Oh wait, Absolute.
Not bad.
What was their history of? We don't even know. You know what? I just realized we don't even know the history of this world's past.
That's true. We didn't even know if there were superheroes before this.
And we don't know about their like what World War II and all that was. I mean, we won World War II, obviously, but we don't know how it played out.
That would be an interesting thing.
That is one difference that Ultimate Marvel has over Absolute. Ultimate Marvel, we know this is a drastically different world in all regards.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Absolute, we still don't know.
Because remember, it's not like because with Marvel we got that Ultimate Invasion book that basically here's the world. I do kind of wish we go. The most we got was that flip book.
That's true.
But besides that, we didn't get like a mini series that was like, here's an introduction to the Absolute Universe. We should have gotten that. That would have been really cool. Oh, Dr. Fate.
Oh, if there's anyone from the JSA, we'd want to be Dr. Fate. Yes.
It's gotta be Dr. Fate. And you could also, what would an Absolute Amanda Waller be?
Where she's actually sane and not trying to micromanage everything.
And she's actually thin. She's not a wall.
No, let's not go. No, we've already had that, dude.
All right. Wonder Woman is the first hero in the Absolute Universe. Yeah, she's the first like outward hero is what they established.
Yep.
Let's see. Who else? And then we'll wrap up. I'm thinking Absolute. What other characters? Cyborg.
Perhaps.
Where he's like a Frankenstein.
Going more for horror. I don't know about that.
Or Absolute. Let's see. Character I would want an Absolute book for. See, we can't do Absolute Teen Titans because we need to set up the. Oh, Mac. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And have it be. Oh, what if instead they're the. No. Here's the thing, though. We don't want to go over and have it be they're all evil. I just realized that we got.
Hold on, I got it. Rather than being allies or lovers throughout the reincarnates, they're bitter enemies.
Oh, dude.
Because
they used to be together, but they broke up, and now they're destined to be enemies.
Oh,
that's great. Oh, Absolute Blue Beetle, but the Blue Beetle's insane.
Wouldn't you might as well just do Red Beetle from the Brave and the Bold show?
Yeah.
By the way, NJ did say, by the way, Scott Snyder confirmed that Wonder Woman will discover and form the Justice League in Absolute, and she becomes the leader of the team. That's the other thing I love about the Absolute Universe. Wonder Woman is clearly the main character of the Absolute Universe.
Yep.
And I'm like, as a Wonder Woman fan, it's nice to see Wonder Woman gain the respect she deserves in an alternate universe.
Wait, she's a vampire in DC versus Vampire. She plays a role in DC's, though she does not survive the first chapter.
Oh no, she survives into the second chapter.
Technically survives the first chapter. Technically. Absolute Shazam would actually be really fun. Where Billy's the good guy, but Shazam is a villain.
You might as well just do Absolute Black Adam if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, but how about this? Billy's a complete loner, and his family hate him.
Okay, here's what you do for Black Adam. Take the concept of the void and apply that to Black Adam. Like he's a hero trying to do good things, but when he goes to sleep, he switches into Black Adam, who does great evil.
Maybe.
Okay, now you're trying to go for a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type deal.
Yeah, exactly. And we already said Absolute Swamp Thing, Tevia.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, Absolute Static Shock?
No. Milestone one does not count.
Okay, we're not counting Milestone.
Yeah,
okay.
because we can't use Milestone.
Remember, there's always DC never owns them, J-Heat. Remember that.
Okay. We couldn't outsource or license out. Okay.
No way. Too
Absolute
much
Cyborg where he doesn't have the Titans.
You could do that. Where he has, so essentially take the beginning of his arc from ZSJL and just make that his story.
Pretty much.
Firestorm.
That's not a bad idea.
Oh, dude.
Ooh.
Absolute Raven. That's so Raven.
Yeah.
I had to. That's good. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it. So all in all, pretty dope universes, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna be checking.
And
thank you, Cameron.
It's glorious seeing Brevoort meltdown.
Oh, Absolute Clarion or Detective Chimp, where he's a human.
Oh, they've already talked about Detective Chimp, if I recall. That's
yeah,
something
they're going to do an
that
Absolute Detective, but Absolute Clarion, the Witch Boy. That would be dope.
Clarion, the Witch Boy. Bum, ba, bum.
Yeah. All right. So, Jay, where can we find you, and what have you got coming out on your channel?
As for me, you can find me at jheat75, jheatblaze, or jheat75 or Twitter or X. I usually do like content, video game playthroughs, stuff like that. And we are planning another New Direction episode where we fix Heroes in Crisis, as well as some other stuff I've got planning in the works I had to put on shelf. We're pushing for 300 subscribers before the end of 2025, and I'd really be blessed if y'all could help me get there. Thank you.
Please do. Robert, how about you?
You got my channel. I'm coming up on one of my students, quote unquote. Pika Shade is reaching his 100th lesson.
Is he getting a good report card?
Yeah, yes, he is, of course. And you know what we're gonna cover?
What?
The life and times of Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, okay, that works.
He really wants to do that one, so we are definitely doing it.
Dope.
And just today, Jared and I had gone over Superman versus Wonder Woman.
The best lovers quarrel ever in comics. So, I had to. So for me, speaking of Superman and Wonder Woman, Britt and I are going to be comparing their relationship to that of Bucky Barnes and Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow Winter Soldier. That's going to be really, I'm so excited for that one. Because besides Scott and Emma, that's my other main couple in Marvel. And in terms of Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm still formulating what I want to do. Tomorrow, also for movie night, we're going to be doing JLA Adventures in Time. That's a really interesting movie with some interesting character designs. Well, I'll talk about that tomorrow. And some interesting team dynamics. We'll discuss that tomorrow. But yeah, so and here we go, Robert. Stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lame. She belongs to General Zod. Zoe is the Max about for life. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.